We are 3 tests away from crowning the fittest on earth. One is known, the last 2 have yet to be revealed. Welcome inside the North Park here at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin for the final day of competition at the 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Games. Test number 10 of 12 coming up next. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram. We got Mike Arsenault down on the field. Your overall standings coming into the final day, and we have a battle on top of the overall leaderboard. Roman Krennikov still has the overall lead with 716 points. But man, things can change in a day.
Oh, buddy, Sean, we got here in 2 different ways. Jeffrey Adler came swinging at the king yesterday. Roman just had a rough day. It wasn't a clean run. Sean, he talked about that 100-point lead, runs to the rower instead of the box. He just lost his head yesterday. Meanwhile, Jeff Adler was a man possessed all day long. Sean, he comes out in the same day. It's 2nd in the 5K and 4th in the Olympic total. By the way, he won Helena. You talk about classic all-around fitness. That's on display with Jeff Adler.
And as a result, Adler shaved 87 points off Roman Krennikov's lead from yesterday, and now is only 13 points back. Chandler Smith is clinging to the 3rd and final spot on the podium. He is only 16 points up on Pat Vellner. Brent Fikowski and Jay Crouch, along with Bailey Martin, are all lurking. Test number 10, it's muscle-up logs.
And if I was Roman, this is not the event I wanted to start the day off. 5 rounds for time, 7 muscle-ups, and then 1 sandbag over 3 ascending height logs, 4 rounds of the 150, and the last round, that big red 200-pound bag.
Lane assignments. We have all 20 men who remained after the final cut last night on the field, and Jeff Adler and Roman Krennikov will be lining up right next to each other in lanes 10 and 11. And for more, let's go down to Mike Arsenault.
Thank you very much, Sean. You mentioned that this is the final day of competition. The season actually started in February with the CrossFit Games Open. Over 300,000 people signed up for the Open for an opportunity to make it to the CrossFit Games. After the cuts last night, we're left with 20 men and 20 women, 0.01% of the athletes that we started with. This is the tip of the spear, and I, for one, cannot wait to see who will be crowned fittest on earth later today.
There is Jeff Adler, who, since finishing 15th in the inverted medley to close out Thursday night, has yet to finish lower than 8th and is now just 13 points back of that man, Roman Krennikov, who has worn the leader's jersey ever since the 2nd test.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
We are underway. We start with the 7 muscle-ups.
And Sean, I talked about how this is not the test Roman would want to see coming in this morning. And the reason for that is, if there's one hole in Krennikov's game over the last couple of years, it has been events that have high volume muscle-ups. If you look back at the Rogue Invitational last year, very similar format. It had 7 rounds of 7 muscle-ups and then goblet squats with some running in between. He finished 17th out of a field of 20. Guess who got 3rd? Mr. Jeffrey Adler.
Just about every athlete get into the bags at the same time, and they have to put the bag over, move themselves over. The way to think of this is anytime they encounter something in their way, they have to go over. That includes on the way back to the ring. Justin Medeiros is out front along with Pat Vellner, Adler, and Roman Krennikov.
We talked about that event at Rogue this past October. Guess who won that event? Mr. Pat Vellner. We're at the North Park. An unsung hero yesterday as far as his competition goes, sitting in 3rd overall. We're at the North Park. We're on Sunday. That screams Pat Vellner.
Yellow Hosta and Pat Vellner will be the 2 men who get back for round number 2. First, Adler and Krennikov and Yonakoski are right behind them. The recipe for success is delivered by Trifecta. What do you got?
No wasted movement. This is an extremely fast test, faster than people may think. These are long straps on the rings. You can't rush the muscle up. You'll get out of control. Same with the bags. And if I can quote the great Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, must go faster, must go faster.
There are 10 reps in every round, 50 total scored repetitions. As now Pat Vellner is off.
And Sean, we looked at the test itself. It's got two elements in there. It's got the ring muscle-ups and it's got the bag. But there's a third element that isn't on paper, and that's the run. That's the carries. They're going the length of the North Park field down and back every single round. So these elements in between the logs actually have a dramatic impact on the fatigue in this test.
Pat Vellner and Yellow Hosta, along with Jeff Adler and Roman Krennikov, are leading the way. Yonakoski is there as well. There goes Vellner onto the third and final log. That's 5.5 feet tall. The logs increase in height from 4 to 5 and 5.5 feet. And that'll close out round 2 for Pat Vellner, who's coming off a tie for 12th in the Olympic total, but prior to that, he won the intervals, his first test win of this competition. And he has been making his traditional climb up the leaderboard after putting himself in an early hole again.
Well, not just won the interval, Sean, he dismantled the intervals. There was nobody even close to Pat Vellner. We talked about the speed of his test. This is a sub-7 minute or sub-10 minute test. So when you look at intervals, about the same pace. When you look at Helena, about the same pace. So no surprise to see Vellner in the lead so far.
Round 3 of 5 has begun. G-Shock is giving you the chance to win a new G-Shock watch, a CrossFit Level 1 seminar, and more than $400 in CrossFit swag. Terms and conditions apply. Now keep in mind, with just 20 athletes in the field, the scoring has changed, so it is easier to make up points in bigger chunks. For a win, you get 100 points. For second place, you get 95. For third, you get 90.
But in that same vein, Sean, it's also easier to lose massive amounts of points, and that's something that Roman needs to be very careful of. Though he's hanging tight with your top guys here, so that's a good look for Roman.
That's two Canadians leading the way. Pat Vellner and Jeff Adler right next to each other on round 3 with that 150-pound, 68-kilo bag. The final bag, the red bag, increases to 200 pounds.
And at the very end, Sean, not only do you have to get the bag over the height of that log, which is 5.5 feet, which is about the same height as your top athletes in this field, they have to carry the bag across the finish line.
Vellner and Adler lead. Yellow Hosta sits in 4th, followed by Roman Krennikov, and it's Yonakoski, the man on your screen right now, who is in 3rd. Koski won the opening test back on Thursday. It's the 3rd time in his career he has won the first test of the CrossFit Games.
Let's keep in mind the totality of the gymnastics pulling movements these athletes have had to go through over the last 3 days. Day 1, 50 chest to bar pull-ups, 100 toes to bar, 16 bar pullovers. Day 2, 36 bar muscle-ups, 6 legless rope climbs. I mean, they're going into their 4th round. That's 28 muscle-ups they're having to do so far with 7 more to go.
Pat Vellner only has 2 left in the 32nd rep mark. He'll head back to the bag, and Roman Krennikov is falling off the pace here. And if this stands, Jeff Adler will erase the remainder of the deficit he has to Roman Krennikov. It could be your overall leader.
Keep your eye on Yonakoski just to the right of Adler and Vellner. He is keeping pace with them. And remember, Yonakoski actually set the test record worldwide in the weighted muscle-up test for semifinals. So this guy has some incredible pulling endurance.
Yonakoski now is starting to gain some ground on Vellner and Adler and is pulled even with them. So we have a 3-way tie for first at this point. Yellow Hosta is right behind them. And Roman Krennikov there in the white and red shorts heading to the second log.
Yellow Hosta's biggest weapon here is actually the sandbag. His cycle rate on the muscle-ups will not be as fast as the other guys, but he's so tall, he just has to throw it right over the top. So that's where he's making ground on the other 3 athletes.
Yonakoski is now taking the lead ahead of Vellner and Adler.
Now, in saying that, Sean, we're coming up to the last round. Now the bag goes from 150 to 200 pounds. And if Yellow Hosta is only 6 to 7 seconds behind these top 3 guys, not only is he going to have the advantage on the logs on the back end, but with that weight and his height, that actually could be the difference maker for Yellow Hosta.
Chandler Smith is on the left side of your screen, and he is trying to hold off Pat Vellner for that final spot on the podium and only leads him by 16 points. And right now, Chandler Smith is in 9th place in this heat.
Sean,
Yonakoski and Jeff Adler are off. Yonakoski now hoisting up the 200-pound bag. Adler is right there with him. Here comes Yellow Holstein.
Watch Holstein. He's going to be able to get it over the log easier than anybody and get over easier. Well, I say easier. Biffs it right there with the first log.
And now Adler is slightly ahead of Janikowski. And remember, they have to go over that final log and carry that bag across the finish. So Adler is now in front of Janikowski and staring at a test win here and maybe the overall lead. Roman Krennikov right now is in 5th place, tied with Pat Vellner. Koski is over. Adler has the bag up. And Jeff Adler is going to win and possibly lead with 2 tests remaining.
Check on the right side of your screen, Sean. Roman Krennikov actually should be getting a top 5 finish here, so that is a great finish for what would have been a bad test for Roman.
Now Hosta is in, which means Krennikov is going to take 4th. And that means that Jeff Adler just picked up 30 points on Krennikov and should lead him now by 27. That's unofficial going into test number 2. Vellner, Medeiros, and Pepper have all finished as well. And Chandler Smith is in. Now keep in mind that race between Chandler Smith and Pat Vellner. So Vellner's going to finish 5th. I misspoke about Adler. He's going to pick up 15, so he'll lead by 2. That's unofficial. So Pat Vellner finishes 5th. He's going to earn 80 points. Chandler Smith takes 9. That's a difference of 20. So right now, unofficially, it looks like Pat Vellner has moved himself into a spot on the podium.
For the final time. And it's done.
Here comes Noah Olsen.
From lane number 20, Uldis Upnik.
Here comes Uldis Upnik. That is Bailey Martin. So it's Jake Crouch who's out there with Colt Burns. There's no Olsen.
And Colt Burns is walking up to a log that is an inch taller than him. It is absolutely incredible what Burns is able to do out here. It speaks to his fitness level.
There goes Colt Burns. And the crowd always appreciates his effort as he is hit. Jake Crouch is done. That will close it out. Jeff Adler looks to have a razor-thin lead on top of the overall standings with now 2 tests remaining. Another quote from Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts.
What a finish here, and listen, with a lot of finishing places all across the board here in this test, based off the placing we had coming in, that leaderboard is going to get compressed massively in your top 3.
Let's take you back to the final bag here in the race between Adler and Koski.
Adler having a slight height advantage on Koski, a little bit stronger as well. And I tell you what, a little bit more highly motivated to get to the finish line. Adler came into this test wearing blue, but he's going full Canadian with the red and white after this test.
Jeff Adler, his 2nd test win of these CrossFit Games, looks to be your overall leader, and he is with Mike Arsenault.
Jeff, 100 points here on test number 10. You've had 8 consecutive finishes inside the top 10. How have you been able to create performances that just appear to have no weaknesses whatsoever?
I don't know, man. I'm sending it. That's it. I had an understanding with Pat. I wanted him to help me. So it was a good battle with Pat. It was fun. And then just sent it with Koski to the line.
Can you just dive into that a little bit more? What do you mean? What type of agreement did you have with Pat coming out on the field?
I need help. Roman's too fit.
So the Canadians are teaming up. There's a very good chance, unofficially, that you're going to have the white jersey on for the first time in your CrossFit Games career. 2 events remaining. Is there enough left in the tank to bring this home?
I guess so, but I'm scared. That jersey is heavy on my shoulders. That's for sure.
We'll see if that added weight impacts you on the final two tests. Jeff Adler, congratulations.
Thank you.
Jeff Adler continues to charge here at the 2023 NOBULL CrossFit Games and picks up 100 points and another win and looks to be your overall leader heading into the final two tests of Sunday. Women coming up next. Test 10. Stay with us, everybody, as our coverage continues.